So today I'm working on a Epiphone Flying V white. As ever, subscribe down below, hit the little bell, and you'll get a notification when I put a new video up. So we're going to get to the repair right now. Well, welcome to the shop today. As you can see, I've got a Flying V on the bench. Couple of things, machine head's broken up here, so we're going to replace that. I'm hoping I can find one that'll match that color. I doubt it. We may contact the customer, see if he wants to replace all of them. A couple of them are pretty hard to turn, although they do have a little lube point in them, so we could shoot some oil in there and probably make them work better. But kind of a big thing on this guitar is that the guitar's been painted. I can't push the strings out through the holes in here. The holes have been downsized due to paint being in there, which is probably going to make I don't know, potentially make tuning this thing a little bit difficult because the strings are then sitting on paint instead of metal. But output jack, so this is a problem with the output jack, but I can see in there that's just corroded and really nasty in there, and I think I can fix that by simply cleaning that with some contact cleaner. Pulled the strings off this thing almost entirely. You can see that kind of a mess up here. I am going to do a fret polish, possibly do a crown on this, although there's not a ton of wear. We're going to set this up with 11s, but a real dirty neck. You can see how dirty that is. The rest of the guitar's in pretty good shape, although the pick guard's been scratched up tremendously here. It's kind of interesting damage, but you can see the owner's paint job on this. Kind of interesting. It's not very smooth. It wasn't sanded very well, it looks like, and certainly doesn't have a clear coat on it, or if it does, it's probably looked pretty cool, but it might have been all dinged up. It's an Epiphone Flying V. I don't know the era of manufacture yet. I will pull the electronic cavity off of this, and we will find out, hopefully with a date stamp on the back of one of these controls will tell me when it was made. No serial number, and also it looks like this guitar has had a headstock break. Either that, or he painted it and hung it on a hook while the paint was wet. We will get this thing shined up, restrung with 11s. We're going to use some Ernie Ball key 11s. So welcome to the world of an Epiphone Flying V. The Flying V is all disassembled. Have cleaned up the old fretboard. This guitar was painted white. Looks like probably a rattle can job. So what you're looking at in these white lines is actually mold growing in there. It's possible that this thing got in an environment where it was being painted and some of that white paint got in there, but this is a very classic example of the wood in the guitar getting filled up with oil and guck. Be sure to clean your guitar neck once in a while. I'm still unsure of the era of this guitar. We'll get these frets all polished up, and they look a lot better now that I've taken the old toothbrush to it. Happy toothbrush. Just kind of want to give you a comparison. Here's where I stopped on the crown job, and I'm using a wide fret file without guck stuck to my fret file. I clean the fretboard and it gets looking really nice. The dullness of these frets down here, you can kind of see how dull those are. I mean, it's not a huge contrast, but as you get to these ones that I've crowned at this point, you can see the nice shimmer and shine from the lights shining down from above, and over here they get kind of dull. I have not used any sandpaper on this yet other than my fret file. And the guitar is really coming back to life. It's little white spots in the wood. It's just kind of annoying that that's there. You could go through with a needle and pick all of that stuff out of there and make it look real natural, and then treat it with linseed oil and keep all this guck out of the grain of the wood, but this was never done on this guitar. And after cleaning the wood on the neck, you can see how much grain is now showing compared to what it was, and I have not oiled the neck yet, so this is going to get much darker. A work in progress. There you go. If you have a guitar and you need some work done, bring it into Legrand Stereo and Music. This is the kind of work we do. We don't mess around. I don't care how cheap the guitar is. I don't care how expensive the guitar is. They're all treated the same way as if it was mine. And my partner in crime here, Stu, is a magician with guitars. The only other guy on earth I'd let work on my guitars. Polishing these frets with the diamond file. One of the greatest files on earth. I get it from Stu Mac, who I do not endorse, although they're the only company that really carries these things. Their shipping is outrageous, and the prices are outrageous, but they have a niche, and they sell tools in a niche. It's not like a plumber, where everybody sells channel locks, right? These kind of files are, this one's $80 for this thing. It's 300 grit on one side and 150 grit on the other. I was terribly disappointed with this file because the 150 grit side, the diamond plating that they used on there for the file just stripped right off the moment I used it. I mean, I literally got to work on about 2 guitars with this file, and the 150 grit side is ruined, or virtually ruined. So it's really disappointing, but really cool tool. That's why we do the kind of work we do down here, because we have the right tools for this sort of thing. So you can go buy one of these for $80 and crown your own frets, potentially mess up your own guitar, or you can bring it to me and I will use this tool to its full potential. This is the kind of work we do here at Legrand Stereo and Music. You can call us at 963-5933. Have your guitar set up correctly. We have one that the other shop here in town did some work on here recently and just totally botched the thing. I mean, it's funny, the mistakes that were made on that. Not to mention that the lady left it there for, I don't know, months, set on the shelf, and nothing got done. And it'll be done today, as far as I know. I may get to do a fret polish on that guitar. My partner in crime, Stu, is doing the cleaning up of the guitar and doing some work on the electronics. The 3-way switch was broken, and he repaired that already. The output jack on that guitar was ruined. The other shop couldn't do it, or didn't do it, and so she brought it to us. We see a lot of their work come into us that's been done incorrectly. Each guitar is treated as our own. We like to keep it that way, keep our customers happy, and keep the guitars happy. So come see us. We have the frets all polished and the fretboard oiled, and you can get an idea of how beautiful those things are now. This is what they should look like if you own one of these guitars, or any guitar for that matter. The next time you pick up your guitar, take a look at it and see if it doesn't do this. If it doesn't, bring it to me, and I will make it shine. And the fretboard's kind of come back to life. It still has those little white spots in it. There's really nothing I can do about that. I could spend 5 hours picking that stuff out of there at $40 an hour. Just not really worth it. But, you can avoid that by cleaning your guitar neck every time and treating it with some oil, once a year with some linseed oil. It's really easy to find at most craft shops. And getting ready to throw some Ernie Ball. We're going to go 48 to 11 on this, or a set of Ernie Ball 11s. We'll see how this thing turns out. I've got the neck set completely flat right now. Before putting strings on it. I do that before I polish them and make sure that they are, the fretboard is level this direction. That way I have a level playing field to do the fret work on, and then when I put the strings on, the strings should allow this neck to have some relief. Just the tension of the strings pulling on this headstock pull some relief out here in the middle, and then we'll do some adjustments to the truss rod. I did turn the truss rod to flatten it out, and it works fine. This is a 4mm Allen key. It's a foreign-made guitar, probably China, Epiphone, maybe Japan. I'm not sure exactly date of place of origin for this guitar, and I still have yet to dial in these electronics. I'll do a cleanup on all these. I'm going to pull the plate off of here and check the output jack, make sure that works. Oh yes, this is an output jack. It's not an input jack. Well, upon further review, this output jack is shot. It works, but it's intermittent. When I move the cable at all, I did clean out the interior of this and make sure it was clean, but unfortunately it's very corroded. You can kind of see how dirty this thing is, and I don't know if this guitar has been exposed to a lot of moisture or You know, something, it must be moisture is what my guess is. There's a solder joint on here that looks a little cold. You know, that solder should flow and look real smooth and nice. I'm guessing that this has probably been replaced. I don't think that's a factory solder joint. I don't think that cold joint is going to cause a problem. I can see the wires have been, you know, have quite a bit of metal on them, but I think the pot itself is just worn out. Done. And these get yanked on a lot. The other thing is that these wires were twisted. So the output jack had come loose at some point and somebody spun it around like so, and you can see that those wires twist up and create some tension there that they are not designed to handle. We'll cut this one off of here and solder a new one on, and there's plenty of length of wire there to get at them. The volume and tone pots, I've shot some good old D5 in these, lube and cleaner, and everything is working real good. Other than that, output jack is acting up a little bit, so we're going to put a new one in there for him today. Well, upon further inspection, I found that this strap button was stripped out in there, so I filled that with some wood and glue and letting that sit up overnight. And I am going to throw some strings on this and get it back up and running. It's about 7 o'clock at night. I've been real busy on this thing tonight, all day, in fact. A lot of work to do on this. And I had that old, really cool old Framus guitar from near as I could tell, 1954, maybe earlier. Acoustic came in, so that was pretty cool. We don't get to see guitars that old that often. The young man just needed some new strings on it, but there will be a video coming of that guitar getting worked on here in the shop. So I will be back with this thing all strung up and rocking before long. So we'll see you in a bit. Well, we have the old V all strung up and tuned up. So now it's time to check our neck relief, check our string action, and set up our intonation. I'm guessing that this is completely wrong. That is, I guarantee you, that's completely wrong. This cannot, physically this doesn't work. But somebody probably didn't know that. I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe the nut's not even. I don't know. But there's some physics involved in all that. The guitar looks great, cleaned it up, looking shiny. I put a few fingerprints on here, putting new strings on it. And again, we've strung it up with the Ernie Ball number 11 to 48, and have my snark tuner on there. And again, I don't cut these off until I'm done doing everything, because if you got to take the guitar strings off the guitar again, you're going to regret doing that. The Flying V is intonated, and as you can see, I was right. This ain't my first rodeo, nor is it my first Gibson Epiphone, blah. You know, you should never have these things straight across. They're just, your intonation is wrong at that point. So just know that. There's a physical thing you can see to know if your guitar's in tune with itself and with the tuner and all that. We have adjusted our pickup height 1/8 of an inch on the bass side and 3/32 on the treble. Again, we have 11 gauge strings on here. Perfectly in tune at 440. I don't do the 432 thing. I'm not into arguing about spiritual shit. The string action here at the 12th fret, we have 5/64 between the top of that 12th fret, which is the one right past to your right of that double dot. 5/64 right there. So you can see that we have this string action set to Gibson specifications. Our neck relief is 12/1000ths of an inch. You know, in measuring this, when I turned the truss rod, what I found was that the truss rod was really creating more of a bend up here around the 6th, 7th fret. So what I did was I just set the neck relief here at the 7th fret, actually, at 12/1000ths, and here at the 5th fret, it's right around 11/1000ths. So, you know, 1/1000th of an inch in 2 frets, pretty remarkable. But that's how accurate we are. Just want to make sure. No fret buzz. The guitar is perfectly intonated. Sounds great. So now I get to go plug this thing in and make some noise with it. Put the truss rod cover back on there, trim off the strings. I'm all done with that. Give it one final wipe down to get all my fingerprints off of it. Check this paint job out. That's rich.